بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وبعد. And all praise and thanks to Allah. And may the prayers and peace be upon Prophet Muhammad. And as to what follows, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حملة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, perish the two hands of Abu Lahab and perish he. His wealth and his children will not benefit him. He will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames, and his wife too, who carries wood. In her neck is a twisted rope of masad, palm leaf fiber. It is called Surah Al Masad because it mentions that Jamil, the wife of Abu Lahab, will have a twisted rope of palm fiber tied around her neck in the hellfire. It is also called Surah Tabat, a name that is taken from the first word of the first verse, which means perish the two hands of Abu Lahab. It is also called Abu Lahab and Lahab. And just on making a note here, you must have done something really bad that Allah revealed a surah against you in the Quran, and so did Abu Lahab and his wife. So the subject matter of this surah deals with the punishment and destruction of Abu Lahab and his wife. Abu Lahab was an enemy of Allah, the Almighty, and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So bitter, so much hatred he had that he abandoned his living. So bitter was his enmity that he abandoned his living in order to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wherever he would go and discourage people from believing in him. This surah promises him that the hellfire will surround him from all directions, that he will roast therein. His wife accompanies him because she was his partner, helping him to harm the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, let me clarify some of this a little better. Abu Lahab and his wife used to follow, they used to make it very difficult for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and follow him around, like put stuff in the way of his path to try to harm him. And they intentionally did this wherever to discourage people from following him. And because of this effort that they put in trying to do this is why Allah mentions them in this surah. That both of them will be in the fire receiving the punishment. Because they not only, it's one thing to reject, oh, you know what, you do your thing. But to make a mission of following a person around to discourage other people, they just went overboard with it. And for that, they will be destroyed. They are destroyed in the fire. Will be destroyed in the fire. What is the relation of this surah as to the surah before this? Surah Al Nasr was before this, and now we are in Surah Al Masad. Allah the Almighty informs us that the recompense for the obedient worshipper is victory in this world and a great reward in the hereafter. Meanwhile, in Surah Al Masad, Allah the Almighty shows us the end awaiting the disobedient, loss in this world, and punishment in the hereafter. So between these two surahs, or the surah, we have Al Nasr is informing that the reward for the obedient worshiper is victory in this world and in the hereafter. And Al Masad, for those who disbelieve, who disobey Allah, and who show enmity toward the Prophet ﷺ will be lost, suffer loss in this world, and receive a great punishment in the hereafter. In what context was this surah revealed? As I mentioned before, that Abu Lahab and his wife used to follow him around and try to discourage people from accepting his words. So in their Sahihs, Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim recorded that Sa'ad bin Jubair narrated that Ibn Abbas said, when وَأَنذِرْ أَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, and warn your tribe of near kindred, was revealed. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam climbed a Safa and said, Ya Sabaha, Ya Sabaha, a loud call for help, one that is usually made during the morning time. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam climbed on the top of Safa and yelled. Everybody came running. The people of Quraysh gathered around him and said, what is the matter with you? He said. And the Prophet ﷺ said, if I were to tell you that the enemy was coming in the morning or evening, would you believe me? They said, yes, indeed, he said, ﷺ. They said, yes. He said, ﷺ, then I am a warner to you of an imminent punishment that is severe. Abu Lahab said, perish and lost to you. Is this why you called us? And then Allah the Almighty revealed, Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab. Well, actually, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab. So perish the two hands of Abu Lahab and perish he. The meaning of its words, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab, literally, may his hands be perished and lost. But here it is referring to his deeds. Wa tabba. The word of perish is used again, but this time it means may he perish himself in the hellfire. Ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. What will his wealth serve him in the face of Allah's anger and punishment in this world and the hereafter? Wa ma kasab. Wa ma kasab is his wealth, children, and so on. Sayasla naran dhata lahab. He will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames. Dhata lahab, blazing and burning. Wamra'atuhu Jamil, his wife is and his lady is talking to his wife, Jamil. Hamalat al-hatab, she will carry the thorns of Sa'dan, which she used to scatter on paths she expected the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take. Fi jidiha hablum min masad, on her neck. Fi jidiha, on her neck. Hablum min masad, made from palm leaf fiber, the rope. The meaning in this summary, this surah discusses the destruction of Abu Lahab, an uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a bitter enemy and would inflict severe harm on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had no religion, no scruples, and not even a sense of loyalty to relatives. May Allah punish him severely. Allah the Almighty condemned Abu Lahab in this surah, which is to serve as a humiliation for him until the day of judgment. So he said, Allah said, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab, perish the two hands of Abu Lahab, meaning he will be lost and humiliated in his works. And wataba is perish he, and perish he. He will never escape. Ma agna anhu malahu, and his wealth, his children will not benefit him. The wealth he has that causes him to transgress, wama kasaba, and his children. And so I kind of went ahead on that translation there, but I'm reading from the book, as you can see. None of this will ever avert Allah's punishment from him when he suffers it. سَيَصْلَى نَارًا ذَاتَ لَهَبٍ. He will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames, meaning he will be surrounded by the fire from every side. He and his wife, who carried the wood, she was severe in her atrocities against Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She and her husband, cooperating in sin and transgression, rushing and hastening to evil in any way they could harm the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She would even scatter Sa'dan, a tree, thorns in the path where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would walk. Fi jidiha hablum min masad. In her neck is a twisted rope of masad, meaning around her neck will be a rope of palm leaf fiber, as a judgment from Allah for their enmity against Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What can be derived from this surah or from these verses? This point number one, Allah the Almighty destroyed not only Abu Lahab's wicked plans to hurt the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but destroyed him as well. Number two, neither money nor children can avail a person when he deserves the hellfire for perpetrating deeds that angered Allah the Almighty. Number three, it is categorically forbidden to harm a believer. 4, that being related to a righteous person will be of no help if one is following shirk and disbelief, for was not Abu Lahab the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is not his abode, and his abode is the blazing fire. So even though Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this did not benefit him. He will still receive the punishment from Allah. There is an amazing miracle in this chapter, and it was revealed while Abu Lahab and his wife were still alive, and it informed them that they would be punished in the hellfire, which meant that they would not accept Islam before they died. And indeed, things turned out exactly as Allah the Almighty informed, and He Almighty is the all-knower of both the seen and the unseen. Subhanaka wa bihamdika. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك